Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code. What is up with HTTP 3 eating the world, John?
That's like a classic Seinfeld sort of stand-up comedian from the '80s. What's the deal with HTTP 3?
What's the
Yeah,
deal?
yeah. So HTTP 3, the next evolution of the standard driving all the angle brackets and whatnot around the internets. So HTTP 3 is seeing a lot of adoption relative to its release back in whenever it was, I think 2020 or so. Um, and so this is an article that kind of highlights the fact that it is growing and why we need it, etc. I do like the graphic that is presented in the bundle because it talks a lot about the reasons why. And the biggest reason why is for Quick. So Quick is the reason why this is being largely adopted. And the reason why is because it has, not only is it built into TLS, but it's also something that will allow us to integrate directly for streaming and such. So Quick is super important, and yeah, allows us to get some really good things going for streaming, for example, and is definitely part of that. There's some other things as well that they talk about, in this article about that, but it relies on, so Quick, for example, relies on UDP for doing its broadcasting, and this is something that's far more performant for doing streaming, for example, because it's not guaranteed delivery. And so streaming, you don't need to have every packet arrive as opposed to TCP, which is guaranteed delivery in some cases. And then UDP is a lot better, so allow you to have a better experience basically for streaming as part of that. So yeah, I thought this was a good article. I think that that it's good to have a layout like this. Yeah, so Quick and HP3, be ready for it. So
Nice. This will help speed up our web apps. I know HTTP 2, there's a noticeable difference when you visit a site. Back in the day, anyway, where HTTP 2 was being turned on, you could really tell the latency seemed to be a lot less of an issue. So
yep,
with
yeah, we need
streaming
our
and stuff
quick
like that, we
UDP
should.
internet connections. So there you
Yeah,
go.
nice, good deal, John. The State of DevOps Report. Is this something I
This
need
just
to
came out.
sign up to download?
Yeah, unfortunately. So this just came out. We were actually one of the sponsors. Octopus was one of the sponsors of this report. And I recently recorded an interview with Michelle Irvin, which is going live today, about this report. But there are 5 key takeaways that are identified in this report. Basically, things that you need to know in order to, well, things that were observed, generally speaking, across the board when it comes to DevOps and things that work well relative to DevOps, etc. And so the 5 key takeaways involve around things like culture, documentation, the usual suspects. Having great documentation matters a lot. Part of the reason why this thing is important is because they've observed huge benefits if you take these things to heart. For example, so the 5 key takeaways are healthy culture, user centricity. It's important that you know software is shipped and it's fast and reliable. But if you don't know who you build for, or you don't know, the team, for example, your employees will struggle. Quality documentation, flexible infrastructure, so that's cloud, things like that. And then another insight is around unrepresented groups. So underrepresented groups are identified and folks who typically have higher levels of burnout and perform more toil on the team. So these and other observations, along with other things, are key insights on the State of DevOps report. This is from the DORA organization. DORA is the DevOps. What is it? DevOps Research something or other, and they basically are a focus group or a research group that focuses on a bunch of things. They surveyed over 32,000 people, and so there's lots of really great insight in there. So you can check that out.
Yeah, I remember talking about this last year. Like it's been that long already. Time flies,
Yep.
John. I remember us
Yeah.
doing
So
this before.
they've been publishing since 2014.
And there were some events at the GitHubs. We get GitHub Universe.
Yeah, this is happening in November.
Or
Octopus is a
coming.
sponsor. We're going to actually be at GitHub Universe, so check us out. But if for those who are attending or those who are watching online, you can check out this blog post, everything you need to know about GitHub Universe and more. So this gives the agenda. GitHub Universe is GitHub's primary major event. It's happening in San Francisco, and you'll hear from a bunch of folks at GitHub, and we'll be there. So check us out.
Nice. They've already got the schedule posted.
Yes.
The keynote lined up. Of course, there's going to be AI, Code Pilot, Code Spaces. Don't forget, this is a Microsoft product these days too. So Code Spaces, definitely, I could see where that's going to fit in.
Yep.
And speaking of Git, introducing the new Apple Silicon-powered M1 macOS larger runner for GitHub Action. What is this mouthful, John?
Yeah, it is a mouthful. Basically, if you're wanting to target M1, which is obviously the instruction set, well, the assembly structure set for M1 and M2, etc., your challenge was if you were building iOS apps, for example, you couldn't do so inside of GitHub Actions. Now you can. So now they have a larger runner available. The notion of size is associated with the basically the tech specs of the runner. So runners are basically the workhorses of GitHub Actions. It's basically they are the workers that execute your GitHub Actions. So the YAML that you define, all that runs on a runner. And there are a variety of different runners. One's based on Windows, one based on Mac, one based on Linux. And you do a variety of things. And so now they've added M1 larger runners, which is great for people targeting iOS and who need that extra, either the instruction set or extra performance.
Nice. They're throwing a little shade at Intel in here. Like transition from a 12-core Intel runner to a M1 resulted in a 44% build time improvement from 42 to 23 minutes.
Yes.
Power consumption would be interesting to see there, probably more than the build time. They tend to run cooler and consume less energy as they ramp up processor speed. So,
the way this works is, in case you weren't aware, GitHub Actions, they charge based on the minute. So you basically, they charge for time. We're back to the mainframe days of time slicing there, Ed. So
so they're telling you it's going to be cheaper now.
Well, 12 cents for 12 cents a minute for and 16 cents is a high premium on terms of if you were to kind of make this all work over just cloud yourself, it would be a little bit cheaper, obviously. I think an order of magnitude cheaper, but you're paying for the convenience. It's so easy just to say runs on blah, 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 go.
I mean, it might seem on the surface cheaper, but you have to have somebody maintain that infrastructure. So
that's the thing. You could, if you were to set up your own runners on, say, Azure or AWS or Cloud, Google Cloud, for example, you could do so, and you could fire this off. In fact, there's been a number of startups that have fired off, and I think we've mentioned one of these recently. I'm just quickly looking up the example. Sorry, this is me tap dancing. I'm trying to find the link here. I can't. Is it going to be on the first page of Google? BuildJet. BuildJet's an example of a company that does this. So if you go to, I think it's buildjet.com, hopefully, yes, buildjet.com is an example of a company that does this. They provide their own set of runners. So hosted runners, you can do this, and theirs are faster because they're beefier, etc. You could certainly run your own runners. Like you have the runners themselves, the Actions runners, that's available as an open source repo. You can host these things yourself and connect to them. In fact, you can run these locally. You can run these on your local host. You can connect back to it. This is something you can do with GitHub. You can run this all yourself, and it may be cheaper, but again, the convenience of just saying, run makes it a lot better.
Today I learned I'm not the CI/CD person, as I always say. Recordings for the JetBrains.net Day 2023 are online and available. Yes. So JetBrains makes a lot of .NET tooling.
They do.
And it looks like they had a .NET Day last week or so.
September.
Free virtual event 5th edition.
Yes.
What type of stuff did they talk about at the
Oh,
DevOps
nothing.
Day?
They didn't talk about anything yet. Don't worry about it.
We've got a whole playlist here on YouTube. We've got
I know. It's
recreating
pretty awesome. Like,
Wolfenstein in F sharp.
I know.
That
Yes.
should have been a Can It Play Doom segment, John.
Well, actually, I think that I think there's a lot of traction at the moment for a lot of these things. So yeah, I wouldn't poo-poo them.
no. Understanding microservices with Layla Porter. Very nice. .NET WASM apps. More F sharp. They went in all in on the F sharp. Never see more than what is this?
Well, they have a tool for it. They have an IDE for it.
20% of the
Yes.
lineup there. That's pretty good numbers.
Well, if you have an IDE, I think JetBrains I think their goal is to try and make an IDE for every programming language on the planet at this point. They just added their Rust IDE basically. So, yeah, awesome stuff.
Good deal. And .NET Conf is coming up as well. So that'll be the November something or other.
11th, something like that.
November. Yeah, I think November 11th.
Scott Hanselman had a good tweet the other day. He, that message alert that went to every American around the U.S.
Yeah.
That alert message. Yeah. So Scott took that, photoshopped it, and said, "Alert!
.NET 8
.NET is coming. .NET 8 is coming." I thought that was good.
Yeah, .NET Conf November 14th through the 16th.
There you go.
It's coming up. I have a session for that as well. So
hooray!
I'll see you there. I'm going to talk about more Blazor stuff, of course.
We're going to sponsor that, so you'll definitely see us there.
Excellent. Terraform 1.6 adds test framework enhancement code validation.
You going to ask me what's this about?
Yeah, because I have no clue. I don't. This sounds like more DevOpsy stuff.
It's just one of the most popular tools on the planet, Ed. Don't worry about it. Just go back to your Maui and whatever else, the ASP.NET stuff that you do. I'm kidding, of course. Now, Terraform, for those who don't know, is basically a infrastructure provisioning tool. You define what's called your configuration via HCL, which stands for HashiCorp Configuration Language. It looks like, I don't know what it looks like. It looks like a little bit like YAML, I guess. And basically, you define the state that you want your target infrastructure to look like. So I want these Azure instances over here. I want this setup over there. And then you run a tool called Terraform, and it's aptly named, right? So if you think of Terraform like the Genesis device from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, it's kind of like that. It destroys the planet, then it recreates it. It's the same thing. It's like that's what Terraform does. And so it's an analogy to terraforming a planet. So in 1.6, which is now released, they added a test framework. This is great because for the longest time we had to use community-driven ones. So community-driven ones like TerraTest, and there was another one I can't remember the name of, but they were kind of clunky. I mean, they worked okay, but they've added now integrated as part of 1.6 this ability to do that. Another feature they've added to 1.6, you just scrolled past it, but is the import capability. So this is awesome. For people who have done import before, you typically have to do it through a command line, and you have to denote, okay, I'm going to go technical. You just basically pointed to the state ID, and you just said, suck that down and hope for the best. And now what you can do is you can define the Terraform as part of your HCL files, which is great. It's a huge evolution over what we had before. This is awesome. The CLI workflow process for Terraform Cloud is also better. So yeah, you can integrate that as well. So yeah, 1.6 now available. You can get it really quickly. Homebrew, other means, it's easy to install. It's just a CLI basically, and away you go.
Awesome.
It was all gibberish, right?
I know nothing about what you talked about.
That's fine.
I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on that one. That's why I invite you.
Imagine Terraform is like a cookbook, and you are the baker, and it's like telling you well, that's probably a poor analogy. Forget it. Sorry. I'm trying to come up with an analogy. I'm going to fail horribly. I think the best one I've come up with is the Genesis.
Butcher
I think
device.
I'm old enough to remember Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and the Genesis device is the perfect analogy for Terraform. And I'm not saying you're Khan and you're using these soliloquies from Shakespeare badly, like you're Ricardo Montalban half bleeding on the stage, sort of thing. But I'm saying like it's a powerful tool. It allows you to do some pretty cool things. So
Uh, we talk a bit about AI
that's a
and
deep
stuff
cut. Sorry.
on the show. And this week, Microsoft talked about their AutoGen framework. So this is kind of the threading between multiple AI bots to, generative AI and other
Oh yeah,
bot
this will be
frameworks
great.
to do stuff.
Nothing's gonna go wrong here.
Yeah, so it's like the task runner for your AI. So
I
you
think
can
a little
take,
bit more than just that.
yeah, it's a little bit more than that. It's an intelligent uh, bus between AIs, I guess. So AutoGen,
Intelligent? Question mark?
it's yeah,
Sorry.
framework for simplifying
I'm just yeah, I know.
organization, orchestration, and automation of
Words.
large language model workflows. That's a
Yes.
mouthful.
It's like biz
So
talk for AI, basically, it sounds like.
they've got the dummies guide down here where they've got a graphic showing like I want to
This is what they
plot
should have called this is what biz talk was. But it was
yeah
a little bit more than that. There was like,
yeah.
transformers and all that sort of stuff. I'm doing a horrible representation of this, but I just like the term biz talk because it gets such a bad rap in some circles.
So you've got like I want these stocks charted to track their price year to date. The bot takes it, tries to digest it, doesn't quite have everything, has to go out and run um, some scripts and things to get it installed, and
Yeah.
back and forth between these bots until they finally have the right output for what you asked for. So it's kind of additional support for those Chat GPT like
Yeah.
things, kind of extending
It sounds very
upon
meta.
on them.
This is very,
Yes.
very, very meta.
So you can have two of these type of services working together. One of the ideas they threw out there, let's see if it's in here, where you could have, say, one large language model helping you code something, and then the bot kicks in and passes it off to another service that goes through the code and kind of smoke tests it and make sure that the code is security safe and all of that stuff. So that you can kind of pass it through different models before getting the final result. So
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of just increasing that surface area of the Chat GPT stuff. What's new in WCAG? Sounds exciting.
WK.
So this is the accessibility
I
guidance.
know. It always throws me off. It sounds like something you would cough up,
Yeah.
So
What's new in 2.2? Catherine from our team wrote about the new stuff that's there. So some new criteria being coming in, replacing some of the old stuff. So basically, it's talking about things that you need to support with, like keyboard focus, and if the elements are visible on the page when your code focuses on that section, it needs to be visible on the screen. Stuff like that. So just making accessibility better, defining drag and drop, target sizes, stuff like that. So if you're keeping up with any accessibility stuff, make sure you're up to the latest criteria in 2.2. Let's see. C# Dev Kit is now generally available.
Yes.
This is the replacement for, I don't know if it replaces it, but is the better version for C# support in Visual Studio Code. This is the one that requires the Visual Studio license to run.
Yes.
So
This is the one that kind of divided the community a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, we still have, I think, the free tool that's out there. I can never remember the name of. But
Well,
there's
the other thing is you needed a VS subscription. Isn't that right? You needed a license for that.
Yeah. This is the one that
So
needed the Visual Studio subscription.
yeah. This is the thing that kind of put a lot of people offside, I think. Is like, what? VS Code is a community thing. What are you talking about subscriptions?
The money play finally came in to picture. Yeah. So this came about the same time they announced that they're going to sunset the VS for Mac as well.
Yes.
So, I'll let you have conspiracy theories of your own, but
Come on.
those two
There's no
things happened.
relation.
Nah, never.
Me and the three other people that used it, we were a little upset, but I'm kidding.
Yeah. But it's generally available now. If you want to take a look at it, you should be able to get it. I think it was in a closed beta before, so now you can check it out.
Nice.
And then we talked about this last time we were on, John, but the date has finally passed us. The 20th anniversary of Fiddler.
I am so old.
Come.
I am so old. When I see things like this, I'm just reminded of my own demise, So
yeah, we had a show about it on this channel earlier today with Sam Basu and a bunch of guests that came on to talk about the birthday of Fiddler. So
yes,
we had some of the dev team and stuff on this morning talking about that.
Who knew that many years ago when Eric Lawrence, sorry, the original creator of Fiddler, decided to create this thing for debugging clip art in Office with a ping set. He did exactly what I did when I was his age. Like, I did the same thing. I used the beep command and all. It was a nightmare, and I needed a tool. And I didn't know about Fiddler at the time that it was shipped. I guess because it wasn't really super public then. But who knew that way back when, like, something that was badly needed, but started off so clunkily and then grew into this awesome thing. Like, I still think this is a must-have. Like, if you're doing anything that, and let's face it, most applications do propagate bits on the wire. If you're doing anything at all, especially with web traffic, you owe it to yourself to get a proxy trace. Use Fiddler. My God. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't use this.
Yeah, I remember having this discussion with Sam. We were talking about web apps versus native apps, and he's like, well, native apps work offline. And I'm like, what can you possibly realistically do offline with an app? Like, what modern app these days does not call out to some server to do something? Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, whenever I hear that, I think of Brady Bunch. Sure, Jan. Sure.
Offline mode.
Yes.
What are you doing with this offline mode that is so useful?
Yeah. You can edit your docs on the plane. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm on the plane basically to get away from work. I'm happy to be disconnected.
With no other reference. Like, I've tried to code on planes before with no internet. They have internet on planes now, but I've tried.
Then where are your docs?
Where you don't, and you open it up and you're like, I can't remember how to write this thing, and then you go to Google and you're like, oh yeah, I don't even have my documentation.
Yeah.
You can take photos offline, somebody says from LinkedIn. Yes, we can take the photo, but what do we do with the photo? Great segue, by the way, LinkedIn user. The new iPhone, the new Android phones are out from Google. The Pixel 8 has shipped. And this is going to ruin so many good jokes for
memes. Yes.
Yeah, like, this just kills a lot of memes, a lot of tropes from those, like, CSI shows.
CSI, yeah.
Zoom and enhance.
Tighten up in there, and, like, you can't. It's a 480 by whatever pixel camera.
Well, Google made that a thing.
Yeah, I know.
So now it's a thing. So you can actually do the whole zoom and enhance thing now, but what's weird is it's not really enhancing the image. It's using AI to auto-generate what it thinks should be there. Right?
Right.
So it's not really there. It's fake there.
Guessing.
Yeah, it's guessed, but it's not real. So it's filling it in. It's like handing it off to some artist that's, good at Photoshop and going, I took this really crappy picture of the Golden Gate Bridge. Can you make it look like a real photo? And then they, like, put, I don't know, some seagulls flying in there and
I know,
tighten up some of the pixels. So yeah, that's
there
a
you go.
thing. I'm not sure,
perfect.
like, if I want that in my photos, but we'll see. Like, how this actually plays out. How
This is
weird
the
it can
AI
get
version
too.
of the stamp tool in Photoshop. Basically, you're just rubber
Mhm.
stamping pixels. It's like, okay.
So it's using generative AI. That's, yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
interesting.
Read your distant cousin pixel. So whatever pixel you're on, read the cousin pixels around you and tighten it up. Guess as to what this is.
Yeah, the from LinkedIn again, they're talking about um, you could take a photo and it will give you different like head and face positions too that you can replace on people in the photo.
Yes.
So I think they've been
Yeah.
doing that one
Headshots.
for quite a while.
They
Um,
have. Yes.
I think this one's just a little bit more advanced in how it chooses the imagery. I think it can go through past photos as well as the current shot. Because usually what the camera does, it takes like, you think you took one photo, but it's actually taken like probably 10 frames of photos across that split second. So if you move your head side to side, like it'll catch like a couple frames of each one, and it'll let you maybe reposition like your eyes in case somebody blinked, something like that. I think this one actually goes through the history of your photos too, so it can get even more creepy. I mean, convenient. Yeah, that's what I meant. And of course, the real news topic of the day, John. I know you're excited.
Yes.
I know you are. You're
God.
just as excited as I am. Okay, maybe not as excited. I'm getting one of these. I'm going to buy
I'm
one
gonna
as
go.
soon as I get it.
I'm gonna go weekend at Bernie's now.
Here, I will one up you. I
Yeah.
will go into the
I'm
metaverse
gonna just
with
fall
you.
asleep. You can put the things. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'm just gonna fall asleep out of interest.
It's a,
I'm doing my
that's,
weekends at Bernie's interest level. Here we go.
yeah. So the Quest 3 is shipping next week. Um,
Hooray!
I'm still determining if I'm going to be an early bird adopter or not and get one right away. I have a trip coming up, and then Christmas is around the corner, and it's really hard to like justify buying something you're not going to be home to use. And then when you are home to use it, you're supposed to be buying gifts for other people, not yourself. So I'll
Five
probably get
hundred
it.
bucks.
Yeah, I'll probably get it at the New Year, the first week of the New
All
Year
right.
sometime.
All right.
But I am excited about it. Every review that I have seen so far is very favorable of the device. Probably because there's a lot of fans doing them, but
Mm-hmm.
nevertheless, there's some really great features on here. I have a Quest 1, so this is going to be one heck of an upgrade for me. I didn't get the Quest 2 because it really wasn't that different from the Quest 1. Um, the upgrade from the Quest 1 to the Quest 3 is going to be night and day difference. So, brand new processor, much better graphics, much faster loading times. Um, let's see if it goes to the example that they gave for Red Space. Red Space did a video. This isn't it, but Red Space did a video. The developers of Red Space, Red Matter. Jeez, Red Matter. There's
Let's see.
another space game that I was thinking of, but Red Matter is an excellent game I have, and they've gone from something like uh, 256K textures to 4K textures on the game. Much better graphics, better filtering. Get rid of the alias lines, all of that stuff. So beef your hardware, better graphics, better load times, um, augmented reality pass through. This is where things get nuts. Okay, this is a great video here. I'm gonna scan through, but if you want to check it out in detail, subscribe to BMFVR's channel. He does a lot of video reviews on Quest games and stuff. But he got a hold of one of the headsets at the live event last week. Got to try it out. Has some very favorable opinions of it. There's a brand new Lego game that's out that's kind of reminiscent of the Minecraft game that Microsoft promised and never delivered. But this gentleman says that the pass through is very much on par with what you might experience with the HoloLens, even though it's not a clear visor headset. It's got the uh, good. I think they're not quite high definition cameras, but they are. What was in between HDef and standard def, John? Do you remember? Like
2K? I don't know.
yeah, it's like 2K resolution basically. Uh, they do a good job at representing the real world, but they also have a depth sensor on it. So the cameras are picking up the video. The depth sensor is picking up the obvious depth of things around you. So when you reach out, you can actually like interact with your environment and not like I guess there's been prior headsets where if you get close to something, you go to reach for it, it's not really being represented where you're standing. So you might reach for something on the shelf and like pass, you're grabbing for it and not quite reaching it. You got to extend out further than it really feels like it's there. That doesn't happen on this headset. It's acting like a real visible pass through. So with that, they've added. I was trying to find. Of course, there's the real time capture like HoloLens does, but these things, um, you could put these widgets and things around your environment in the real 3D space. So you have like
Uh-huh.
trophies from the games that you play, launchers for various things. Basically widgets for augmented reality. Like they didn't work on the desktop, John. I know. Like I accidentally hovered over here a second ago, and like all these weird widget things came up. Now we have this wonderful capability in our 3D space. It's a little more
Ugh.
practical in the real world, I think.
No, it's not. It's not
Come
practical at
on,
all.
John. Yes, it is.
We're bored. Are we this bored that we have to do this? Ugh.
I mean, who doesn't want a portal with an elf like popping out of the wall
Sure.
at them? You can put up the monitors. I think this is something I'm gonna try out when I get mine. You
Oh
could
my
blow the
God.
roof
Just
off
go
your house.
outside.
You, s-
Just
you
go
you could just be
outside.
outside while you're inside, John. You could have
Ugh.
like the weather snow globe. What Come on. So that's coming next year. By the way, that feature is coming next year. So yeah, the widgets. What did they call them? I'm trying to remember what they call them. This is all brand new stuff. Um, they
Crushing
have a name for
your
these.
crushing your inner soul and reasons to live. Um, Widgets. I don't know.
Uh,
Sorry.
I'm gonna call them
I am
widgets for
so.
now until I find the.
I am I really negative about this stuff? I can't tell.
They have this with the HoloLens, and it's actually a really cool feature that I enjoyed. The weird part about it was, and I don't know if I talked about it on the show before, but there's, the way your brain works, like it will adopt these new interfaces and treat them like an extension of your body. And after wearing a HoloLens for an extended period of time, you get used to these virtual items being placed throughout your house.
I will never get
And
used to this.
yeah, so we had like a big screen TV that was virtual in the corner of the room. And I'm sitting on the couch one day and I look up at the corner of the room and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I don't have the headset on. I can't see the TV." And a couple days go by and I'm sitting there and my daughter comes in the room, sits down, looks in the corner of the room, stares, and then kind of blinks like awkwardly and I'm like, "You were looking for it too, weren't you?" She's like, "Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?" It's like it's really weird. It's like somebody came in and stole the TV. So these things they get to be second nature to see them sitting around your room. Um, and I think it's cool. You can decorate one room depending on your preferences versus the person sitting next to you. You could have completely different decor in the same room with two different people. Why
It's
not?
amazing, Ed. It's amazing.
It's the future, John.
It is not
You're We're living in the future now.
the
Um,
future.
4K display. These things are really high definition displays. There's one on each eye, by the way, making up the 4K resolution.
All right.
Very high resolution lenses. Better optics as well. So they have these pancake optics now. It's a lot thinner than it used to be. I've got the Quest 1 again, so like this is going to be a huge step up for me. It's 40% smaller than the Quest 2, and that's probably much smaller than the Quest 1. So the device itself really isn't that thick, John. I know you're not a big fan of these things being on your face, but
Nope.
this section
No.
right here in white is the actual device. The rest of this orange piece here is just padding.
And where does your dignity go?
Out this window over here. She's
Where's
looking for it right now.
Yeah. Where's the place for your human existence?
Where's my dignity is what she's looking for. No.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
So it's a lot smaller and lighter. Or actually, it's not lighter. It's just smaller. It's more dense. It's more compact. So
I'll tell you what's dense. Sorry.
Yes, the controllers are better. Everything's just better. What's great though, John, I meant to pull this up. I don't have the video, but do you remember the Vision Pro video? We showed it on the show, and like the girl sitting on an airplane, and she's got like the thing on her face, like on an airplane. Like this is a normal thing to have a VR headset on an airplane just strapped to your face.
Oh, that, yes. God, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So we were talking about it. You as soon as they got to that frame, I remember you chiming in and laughing hysterically. Like, who does that?
God.
Who's going to wear this on a plane? Well, one of the meta videos, their official advertising videos for the Quest 3, this girl is in a small apartment, right? And the gist of the video is she wants to learn how to play the piano. So when she goes to visit her grandmother, she can play the piano because her grandmother's like big piano player and taught her to play when she was little or something. But her apartment's too small, so she gets the Quest to learn to play virtually on the piano because she can't fit it in her apartment. Well, they show her the whole time, like it's frame by frame of this timeline of like her buying it and practicing, and the seasons are changing. And then finally she's going to see her grandmother and she gets on the airplane. No headset. No headset. She's just sitting on the plane like a normal person.
Yeah, because there's no battery big enough to bring along for that long of a ride. We're going back to the 80s when you had these VCRs on one shoulder and the battery pack on the other. So
I think it was very purposeful, though. I think it was making fun of that demo reel that Apple showed, where this person's like sitting there ignorantly on an airplane, like tuning everybody out around them, and they're like, "No, don't do that." They're like subtly saying, like, "It's okay to like do this in your house, practice playing your piano, but you get on the plane, leave it in the luggage, all right? Like, put it in the stowon underneath your seat and leave it there."
Like, look out the window. The whole world is going by. You don't even need a virtual headset. You can a headset for virtual where you can just look out the window. It's amazing what you can see out of the window of a plane. I flew for many, many decades, and I was just like amazed by what you're flying over. You don't need a headset for that.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else caught that, but I certainly did. And I think, it was very much on purpose to kind of make fun of the Apple video that was already out. All right, so
all right, what else you got, Ed?
That's I got more Quest 3 stuff.
Yeah, just close the
everything you need to know, John. Everything you need to know.
I don't need to know anything. I'm not getting this.
This is all the same. I think I doubled up here by accident.
I'm not doing this. I refuse. I'm sorry.
You know you want one.
No, I don't. I
don't.
don't.
As soon as this stops, you're gonna go pre-order. Watch. As soon as the show's over.
If this becomes a thing, I'm gonna I don't know what. I'm gonna be like one of those old men who well, I already am old. But you know those folks who just stick with the flip phone and refuse to get a smartphone? I'm gonna be like one of those. No, I like. I'm just gonna be like, no, I'm not doing this.
No, actually, I didn't get a phone. I didn't want one. I was like, I don't need one of these things. I don't want one. I don't need one. And I still don't really enjoy the phone experience that much. The
Right.
web is what kind of brought me, turned into like a small computer with / web browser. It's the only reason I actually got a smartphone. But before that, when it was just the cell phone to make calls and stuff, I straight
Yeah.
told my family. They're like, "Are you getting a cell phone?" I'm like, "No." It's like, if I'm at the store, I don't need you to call me. I have a phone at work and I have a phone at my house. And if I'm not one of those two places, I don't need to talk to you.
Nice.
And I stand by that today. Like, I don't like, you don't need to call me if I'm not sitting at my house. Don't call me in the car. Don't call me at the grocery store. Just leave me alone.
Yes.
Yeah. This
The
is
story of
all
my
just
life.
good
Just leave me alone.
good specs across the board. Actually, I think I grabbed this article for one thing in the headline. If I got the right one, yeah, this is what I like right here. Um, Meta has designed the Quest 3 with mixed reality in mind for 1/7 the price of the
Yes.
Apple Vision
Yes.
Pro. Thank you very much. That's all we needed from you, Android Central. Um, and I gotta follow this up with one more metaverse story. John, I know you'll be a big fan of this one, but now you can take all the magic and excitement of Microsoft Teams into VR.
Fantastic. What do you want me to say? I'm like, you're just trolling me.
Hoorah! Like,
Huzzah!
so Microsoft Mesh is public preview now. This is the 3D immersive virtual meeting experience that is being baked into, I think, Teams, that is going to help you have more meaningful face-to-face like interactions when you're not in the office.
No feet,
No feet.
no legs, no legs.
I have jokes, but this is a family show. Right. So apparently these are interactive mesh things, are easy to set up. This actually
Yeah,
reminds
drag and
me
drop programming.
quite a bit of
Popfly.
Meta's what do they call it? Horizon. So this is like Horizon for Teams. If you're not familiar with Horizons, it's what Meta has deemed the metaverse, which is basically Rec Room. If you don't know what Rec Room is, then you're John.
Dude, come on.
So this is
I know things. I'm like Fredo from Godfather 2. I'm smart. I know things.
I'll put it another way. This is Roblox for Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it reminds me of Microsoft Popfly or other things like that. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
So you can easily create these 3D worlds with some draggy droppy scripting tech, and then I don't know, deploy them to your Teams environment. And they include like physics and other interesting things. So you can have those really great Teams calls. And
Awesome.
your custom built Vinny's dart room with old-fashioned dartboard. That's in the screenshot, folks.
Beautiful.
Get started with your 30-day trial if you have a Teams premium membership. I know you want that link, John. I will
Yep.
email that to you.
I will file that under Arrivederci. R for Arrivederci.
And that's all I've got for today, folks.
Thank
That's
God.
it for me.
Goodness.
Thank you. It's over. It's finally over.
The VR stuff. It's just killing me, dude.
They're enjoying themselves. Look, you don't want to be part of that?
Ha ha ha. It's like, ha 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 ha.
LOL.
Yes, LOL. Yes.
All right. That's all we got, folks. We will see you next week. I wish I could say I'm going to get a Quest 3 by then and have it on the show, but like I said, probably be the first of the year before I see that sucker. I just got too much in the real world going on to actually buy it and make use of it
There it
until
is.
next year. So
There it is.
as much as I want to, Alrighty. We'll see you all next week. Take care, folks.